A very good morning, a very good afternoon to all eminent scholars and honored guests. Let us start this program with the salutations to Devi Saraswati, who is the giver of boons and fulfiller of wishes. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sarvada. O Devi Saraswati, when I begin my studies, please bestow on me the capacity of right understanding always. Tilak College of Science and Commerce, Vashi, believes in quality education to all the sections of society. The vision of our society outlines the holistic development of the students through its four pillars of academic excellence, professional competence, human values, and social skills. I express my sincere thanks to the management of Tilak Education Society for their contribution, continuous support, guidance, and encouragement. I am very thankful to Honorable Chairman Sir Shri Jain Kurup Sir, Secretary Dr. Ajit Kurup Sir, and Director Shri Arun Kurup Sir. This is possible because of management is highly supportive for overall development. Thank you, sir, for providing this platform. It is a great pleasure indeed for me to welcome you to the Faculty Development Workshop on Research Methodology, Statistical Testing, and Data Analysis using MS Excel. I am very happy and grateful that many distinguished scholars and professors came from all over the country to share their knowledge and experiences. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation for distinguished speakers, Dr. Shraddha Bhome Madam from Satish Pradhan Dansarna College, Thane, and Dr. Sakharam Mule Sir from Kishanchand Chelaram College, Churchgate, for this faculty development program. Both the speaker will enlighten you with their knowledge and experience. I would also like to extend my special thanks and appreciation to my committee members, Mrs. Sheetal Aditya, Mrs. Chanchal Kaur, and Mrs. Sarita Balkrishnan for their hard work and devotion. I hope you will have three most productive days of interesting and stimulating discussions. I sincerely wish that this faculty development program will be great success, not only as a chance to share knowledge and experience in higher education, but also the beginning of long and fruitful cooperation. I sincerely hope that this workshop will deliberate and discuss to all the different facts of these exciting topics and come up with recommendations that will lead to better world. I offer my best wishes to all the researchers. Thank you. I would like to call Sheetal Madam to conduct further proceeding. Over to Sheetal Madam. Over to Sheetal.
Thank you, ma'am. With the grace of Almighty, I have a glad welcome to one and all present here. Especially, it's a bright and a warm evening, which is filled with knowledge, desires, inquisitiveness, potentialities, and dreams that we all share to have a very sound research knowledge. On behalf of Tilak College of Science and Commerce, I am Professor Sheetal Aditya, the HOD of BMM department, and I feel it's a pleasure for me to extend a cheerful welcome to one and all faculty members here. Your presence has only made us very happy. A huge, massive 3,000 participation has made this event a national event, and I really want to thank for all the faculty members all across India for such overwhelming response. Today, we have all assembled on this platform. I would like to thank our Chairman Sir of Tilak Education Society, Shri J.N. Kurup Sir, an eminent visionary who has given this opportunity to share a platform where we can acquire, receive, and gain knowledge. As it is rightly said, a more intensive a man's knowledge is gained of what has been done. It gives him a more greater power to understand, to know what is to be done. So today, with this motive of understanding knowledge as a lightning flame, no, with a passion of learning that should never cease to grow, I would like to welcome today's guest that we have. A very few lines I would like to quote about her, which completely defines her. A man, a woman, a man or a woman can attain knowledge with the help of those who possesses it. We should only learn from them who knows. So I really want to welcome Dr. Shraddha Bhome ma'am, the best person that we could call across for this platform to share us such important viewpoints of research. Thank you, madam. Ma'am is the coordinator for accounting and finance department at Satish Pradhan Dhyansan College, Thane. She is a gold medalist in MPhil with a PhD, MBA, MCom. The qualification just goes on. With a teaching experience of more than 15 years to UG, the undergrads, and 8 years to post graduation, she itself is a book of knowledge. She has been awarded for more than 80 books and 100 research papers, which has been awarded nationally as well as internationally. She has delivered more than 35 sessions all across how to write a research proposal, so and so, so and so, so and so. So, ma'am, I really welcome you on this platform. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our sincere request.
Thank you so much, Sheetal ma'am. Now, I would like to first of all thank Madam Principal Dr. Anita Joshi, Mrs. Sheetal Aditya, who is the coordinator of this workshop and BMM department of the college, and her supporting team, Chanchal ma'am and Sarita ma'am, for all support and giving me this opportunity to share my experience with you all about research proposal. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, while beginning with the topic research proposal, can you start with slides, Chanchal ma'am? Yeah. So, what is research? Basically, we all know research is, next slide, ma'am. Research is to think what nobody else has thought. It is just the original contribution to the existing body of knowledge. It is a discovery of new relationship between existing facts, objects, concepts, phenomena that were earlier thought to be but independent of each other. So it is nothing but a creative and systematic work undertaken in order to increase the stock of knowledge, including human beings, culture, and the society. So, it is a scientific and systematic search again and again for the knowledge. Next slide. The next slide goes for selection of topic. Now, when we start writing the research proposal or any research paper, we as a person, we have to think of first topic of the study. Now, what it should be? It should one should tackle the unexplored territory. It should have the research potential. It should not be too vague or should not be too narrow. It should attract plenty of information from you as a researcher. So again, here I would like to highlight upon what is research topic and what is research title. There is a difference between these two words. Topic is a very broad area, whereas title is a narrower aspect of it. How? I'll give you the example. Listen carefully. Suppose I want to study on ICT in cooperative banks. So ICT and cooperative banks is a topic of my study. Whereas what can be the title out of it? Now there are many cooperative banks and there are many ICT techniques. So a study on application of ICT in terms of customer satisfaction or in terms of customer retention or in terms of any other customer expectancy, I can narrow down that way my topic for. Also there are many cooperative banks in our India, so I may think of only, because I am staying in Thane originated cooperative banks. So from the from the topic ICT in cooperative banks, I may come to such a title that a study on application of information and communication technology adopted by cooperative banks of Thane region. So this can be the proper title of my research. Another example we'll take upon this topic and title. Suppose we all know basically our own college students are really going towards the junk foods. We know junk food they love much, they eat maximum daily. So suppose eating junk food is a topic in my hand. So in that case, how may I frame my title? A study on junk food habitats among the college going students in Thane city. So this is nothing but I am narrowing down my topic of research to the small part, Thane region and junk food habitats. Other factors I may take at the later stage. So this is all about the difference between the title of the research and the topic of the research. Please keep in mind, whenever you go and meet for the first time to your PhD supervisor or a guide, you have to go with the word topic. You have to give him what broad area you would like to do a research upon, and after that he will help you, or he will ask you certain questions, and by giving answers to his questions you can frame your title very easily. Next slide, ma'am. Research proposal. Research proposal. It is a concise and coherent summary. It outlines the general area of the study within which your research falls. Now, what my research actually proposal should contain? It is a planning tool. It is nothing but what you will investigate, why it is important, how will you investigate, to whom your study will be beneficial. All these aspects will be covered in your research proposal. So a proposal should contain all the key elements involved in designing complete research study with sufficient information that allows the reader to assess the validity and usefulness of your proposed study. So every research proposal must answer certain questions. Question 1 is, what do you plan to accomplish? Here, you have to be clear in defining the research problem, what it is you are proposing to research. The second is, why do you want to do the research? In addition to detailing your research design, you also must conduct the thorough review of literature and provide convincing evidence that it is a topic worthy of in-depth information and investigation. The third question you have to ask to yourself is, how are you going to conduct the research? Be sure that what you are proposed is doable. Something vague, you can't go and just come out of the dreams and say, yes, I want to do a research on this. No, this is impossible. If you are having difficulty in formulating research problem, you have to continuously read and write and think and rethink on the same. Then only you can come to the part. So what should be there in your research proposal? It is a center. What is your research problem? What the topic of study is related to? What method should be used to analyze the research problem? Why this is important research? What I am going to give extra to the society? This all things must be included in entire your research proposal. So it is nothing but a summary of your objectives, hypothesis, review of literature, research methodology, scope, limitations. Next slide. Next slide is all about the outline of your research proposal. Next slide, ma'am. On each aspect of this outline, now we will be completing our research proposal. Now I have given you idea in the beginning about the topic of research and the title of research. So by this time, your mind and your antennas should be on, not focusing on topic, but your title of the research. This proposal which you are submitting to university for approaching them for the doctoral work. So here the first part of every research proposal is introduction. What it should cover. See, think about your introduction as a narrative written in 2 to 4 paragraphs. Simply 2 to 4 paragraphs. It should include need for the research, statement of problem for the research, and the conceptual framework of your topic which you are studying. So beginning with introductory part, introduction, that is a conceptual framework, will be of 1 paragraph. After that, you can point out the need for research about 1 paragraph in this section, followed by statement of problem. So now your research proposal introductory part should answer you following questions. Number 1, what is the central research problem? Number 2, what is the topic of study related to that research problem? What methods should be used to analyze the research problem? What is this important? Why my topic is significant? So this answers must be reflected in the 4th paragraph of your introductory section. Next slide, ma'am. Review of literature. Review of literature. Everyone knows literature means something which is available in black and white form, either in research reports, research papers, reference books, periodicals, government policy notes, issues, relevant statutes, scholarly textbooks, everywhere available in black and white form. That is literature. Now, we have to do the review of it. What is literature review? It is a comprehensive overview of all the knowledge available on a specific topic till the date. When you decide on a research topic, usually the first step you take in the direction of conducting research is learn more about previous research published on the topic, and this eventually translate into literature review when you write your proposal or your research paper or your thesis. Literature review is one of the pillars on which your research idea stands, since it provides context, relevance, and background to your research problem which you are exploring. Now, there are two types of literature reviews. The first type is experimental literature review, and second is theoretical literature review. So, what is experimental? It is basically surveying of all information available on a particular topic and critically analyzing the gap that need to be worked upon. In this sense, it essentially forms first experiment of any research project. And another part is theoretical literature review. What is it? It is an extension of experimental, surveying and critically reading the existing literature and then summarizing and actually penning down the gist of what you have read and what you have written, but in a organized manner. That is called as theoretical literature review. Now for this, I would like to give you here a certain guideline or a tip. What tip it is? See, when you decide on the topic of the study with your guide, he will or she will tell you to download various papers, various database, and then how will you use them? Number 1, you can refer the database such as Google Scholar, ebisco, PubMed, JSTOR, Project Muse, Humanities and Social Science, Medline, EcoEnlit for your review of literature purpose. I'll repeat: Google Scholar, PubMed, JSTOR, ebisco, Project Muse, Medline, EcoEnlit. These are the various databases available for general all proposals literature review. Okay, you can download the research papers. A very simple trick here I would like to give you is download all research papers and thesis or any other material which you feel important, but download it in one common folder. In computer, you make one folder. Give the name as literature review. In that folder, you download all the papers one by one. You can write the numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that, numbering you can give for your research papers and thesis, whatever is downloaded by you. Then simply take one notebook, just like our students. In the notebook, there are two pages, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. There are white blank spaces available on the top. On the top left hand side, you write down page number 1. Then right hand side, keep the page blank. Go to next page. Give the left hand side top number 2. Like that way, on all left hand sides, you give the numbering. A simple way. Then whatever is your downloaded paper number 1, you read. And then what you feel after reading that, you keep on writing it on the left hand side of the notebook, that page. And on the right hand side of the page, what to do, I'll tell you. You read every day, keep a target that at least 5 review of literatures you will do. So on the 6th day, again you will come to the first downloaded paper. So that time again you read that paper, read whatever you have written in the same last week before 5 days, and now think critically what is not covered by the researcher in his or her paper. So, dear participants, you can write on the right hand side the critical literature review. So, on the left hand side of the page, your positive literature review is ready, and on the right hand side, your critical literature review is ready. So, this is the simplest trick which every researcher can do while writing even thesis, while writing research proposal, and even the research paper. So I hope you are so far clear now with the difference between topic and the title of the study, and then how to come down to title, how to write the introduction, and how to have the review of literature. While doing the review of literature, you have to keep 5 things in mind. I'm giving you 5 C's. The first C is cite, so as to keep the primary focus on literature to your research problem. Second is compare. Compare the various arguments, theories, methodologies expressed in literature. What do the authors agree on? Who applied similar approaches? Analyze that. Third C is contrast. Contrast the various arguments, themes, methodologies, approaches which describes the major areas of controversy, debates among the scholars. Number 4C is critique. Critique the literature. Which arguments are more persuasive and why? And fifth is connect. Connect the literature to your own area of research and investigate it. How does it will help me to draw my conclusion? How should I synthesize it or add a new perspective to what has been said in my literature? So this is how this 5 C's will help you, dear participants, to clear your review of literature. Next slide. Once your review of literature is ready, you have to just go on for objectives of research. What do you mean by objective? This is to convince yourself and people as to what the objectives of your work are. Your rationale must mention the existing condition, the ideal condition, and the gap which you wish to fulfill. So, ideally, objectives are stated or started with the word to. And many a times we observe while reading the proposals that students keep write the objective as only to study, to understand, to study, to find. That's it. No. I am giving you here certain alternative words which you can give. The alternative words you can use are to understand, to analyze, to evaluate, to develop, to determine, to review, to find out, to measure, to suggest, to present, to compare, to promote, and finally to give solution. Why? Because we are doing the research to give the solution to the problem. So, statement of problem is very important before your objectives frame up. So, what is a statement of problem? This is the ultimate goal of a statement which transforms the generalized problem into the targeted and well-defined problem, which you have to resolve through focus research and careful decision making. So, statement of problem will identify the purpose of research project which you are proposing, and from that you can easily frame the objectives of your study. Ideally, for any PhD proposal, 5 to 6 objectives are sufficient. But when you are going for writing the research paper, it can be not more than 2 to 3 objectives you have to write. Okay, next slide, ma'am. Hypothesis of the study. Now, here the question comes to many people that what is hypothesis? Oh my god, this is very tricky part. Is it really necessary in research? What should I do? So basically, in a simple layman language, I'll tell you, hypothesis is one general statement. Okay, it has two answers. One is positive, another is negative. In simple layman's language, a hypothesis is the assumption about the relationship between and among the variables. So now, how to frame the hypothesis? Shall we take one example over here so that you will very easily understand how to frame the hypothesis. Hypothesis, as I said to you, there is one positive answer and one is negative answer. Negative answer is called as null hypothesis and positive answers is called as alternate hypothesis. I will give you here a one best example that suppose I am studying one or I'm doing a research paper on the topic called as organizational factors and its effect on employees' job satisfaction. Okay, so in this case, suppose I whatever are my this organizational factors available, such as employees payment, what they get from the organization, work culture, then how are the other colleagues and staff at that organization, then what are the rewards given by organization, training, how do they give job engagement, workload, then scope for promotion or not. These are the various factors which affect on employees job satisfaction. Suppose I want to do the research on this. How will I do the hypothesis for this? A very simple thing. First and foremost, I as a researcher will make take a paper, fold it in the two parts, again left hand side and the right hand side. Whatever are the independent variables in my research, I will note down it on the left hand side. And whatever is a dependent variable, I will write it on the right hand side. Now, what is my topic of the research? Study of various organizational factors and its impact or influence on employees' job satisfaction. So, job satisfaction of employee is the dependent variable over here. Whereas all our factors such as remuneration, rewards, relation with employee, training, promotion, healthy environment, these are the independent factors over here. So we will make a note of all that over here, right? So in this case, left hand side से लेके till right hand side, you will make the arrow in between, and the arrow of or the direction of your arrow can be from independent to dependent variables. Now, which words I should use in between to frame my hypothesis? How will I use it? See, on the left hand side, all my independent variables are mentioned, and on the right hand side my dependent variable, that is organizational employees satisfaction, is written. So I'll give you a trick. Left hand side I have written the variables. From that, coming down to job satisfaction, I will include certain words in between. Which words can be written? Impact, influence, effect, relationship, association, and I can frame my hypothesis in that case. How will be my hypothesis in that case? Organizational factors such as remuneration, reward, relation, and have no effect on job satisfaction of employees. I have used the word effect in this case. Same, I can use another word to frame the hypothesis. Organizational factors given by remuneration, reward, healthy environment, promotion, etc., have no impact on job satisfaction of employees. Again, I can frame third hypothesis. Organizational factors such as so and so have no association on with job satisfaction of employees. So depending upon these impact, influence, effect, relationship, association, these kind of words, dear participants, you can frame the hypothesis. And you know, in null hypothesis there should be word no, not, because it is a negative. An alternate hypothesis will be a positive hypothesis. Is this clear so far? So dear participants, we have so far covered what is the difference between the topic and the title, then introductory part of our research proposal. After that, we have seen how to do literature review and how to frame objectives and hypotheses. Now, the main part of your own work is research methodology. Next slide, ma'am. What is research methodology? This section of your research proposal contains the details about how you will conduct your research. It includes your study, design, the methodology, and the methods that you plan to use, as well as your work plan, the activities that you plan to undertake to complete your proposal. This section of research proposal must contain all necessary information that will facilitate another researcher to replicate your research. The purpose of writing this section is to convince the guide or university that the method you plan to use are sound, and this is most suitable approach to find out solution to the problem which you have chosen. So you must also demonstrate your understanding of alternative methods to show that you have made a sound and well calculated judgment. The methods section of your research proposal must give certain answers to these questions. What is your study design? Why did you choose it? Is the study qualitative or quantitative in nature? What are the methods you will use to collect the data? Who will be participants of your study? So that means my data collection plays very important role over here. What procedure or activities will study the involve? How long will the experiment or study take to get it completed? So these are certain questions which must be answered by you in your research methodology part. So the first question of us was, what is your study design? So your area or universe of the research should be the first part of your research methodology. Then after research universe, what are the sampling methods you are adopting? That has to be written by you. In that you have to give clear cut outline, or in detail you have to express about why are you choosing simple random sampling, or you are using suppose snowball sampling. Then you have to justify in your own proposal for the same. Then once you define the sampling method, you have to write down the sample size. For that, three parameters I'm telling you, you have to keep in mind. One is your guide, what he or she says. Suppose unhone bola, go and collect the data of 1000 people. I'm not going to listen anything. So you have to collect the data for 1000 people. But ideally, on Google, the second method I'm telling you, there is a formula available for sample size. So you can download that formula and you can get the answer on Google in a fraction of minutes that what should be the ideal sample size of your research work. And third technique which you can use is your university. Certain universities are also giving guidelines to the researchers that you have to collect minimum 300 or 500 data. So you have to go on accordingly for sample size. Okay. The next is what you can write here is, what are the data collection techniques you are using in your research work. So that data we all know is of primary data and a secondary data. We have to use primary and secondary, a combination, as far as our social science research is concerned. So in primary data, which method is most suitable for me to collect the data? It may be questionnaire, it may be observation, it may be interview, it may be any other technique such as schedule or anything. So, as a researcher, I must be ready with the answer in the proposal while writing the same. So my primary data can be, if I'm choosing questionnaire, what type of questionnaire I'm using? I may use open-ended, close-ended, pictorial question, combination of all. So it should be a pre-coded and pre-structured questionnaire which you have to be ready with when you go for data. So the secondary data which you can use in your proposal is books, journals, research, reports, papers, articles, government policy and reports, statutes, websites, data analysis tools, which you will use. That is more important. Now you will say, Madam, we are at the first stage of writing proposal. How we know what techniques are we going to use? So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, please listen carefully to Mule sir's session, in which he will give you idea for which type of hypothesis, which method of analysis or tool of analysis is used. So accordingly, you all can write chi-square test, F-test, Z-test, ANOVA, Yule's association, factor analysis, cluster analysis, depending upon, again, your topic and the title of the study. So, entirely, your research methodology must contain or is explaining you in brief the course of action you are going to take to achieve your goal, such as sources of data, methods of data collection, then your universe of the research, sample method, sampling size, and data analysis tools. So this is all about your research methodology slide. Next slide, please. Moving on to after research methodology, we will go to scope of the study. You have to define your boundaries of the work. Boundaries can be in terms of geography, demography, age group, income group, etc. The specific period of the study you have to define over here. And ideally, it must be 10 years or more. We can say even 50 years literature. If you are doing a study on literature topics, it can be even 50 years. But ideally nowadays, 10 years to 25 years time is being considered as far as research topics are concerned. Next slide, ma'am. Moving on to limitations of the study. Every research proposal must have the limitations. Why? Because it shows the limitations of our study and reasons thereof. It must convince the reader that in spite of your sincere and full-hearted efforts, certain problems are unsolved. So, we can add that unsolved problems in our near future, either in our PhD or in our postdoctorate work, or if we are writing our research paper in the next research paper. What can be generally the limitations of any study? The first limitation is time. Second limitation can be biasness of the respondents. Third limitation can be area of the study. Since research is, a time bound activity, you have to restrict yourself to number of years and area of your research. So that three can be possibly the limitations of your study. Next slide, ma'am. Utility or importance. Now, whatever research I wish to do, to whom it is important to, that is also I have to write. And not only that, how it is important to others, that is also the thing. So, it should spell the facts about the usefulness of your study to the particular section of the society or nation at large, or any government body if you're focusing on. Suppose I am doing a study on e-learning techniques adopted by teachers in these pandemic situations. My topic of this research paper is not only going to be useful today, but after 5 years, we will study this. Oh, tabhi corona aaya tha. So how my topic was useful that time, that scope or importance or utility, you can write over there. So the conviction that this is useful will strengthen your hypothesis. It will validate and give more light on your findings of the study. So, this is all about the utility and importance of the study. If you are writing this section in your proposal, you can give, bullet points or number. That number one, to whom it is important, suppose to society. Number two, suppose consumers. Number three, suppose investors. Number four, layman. Number four, government officials. Number next, students or colleges across India. So you can, define each section to whom your topic is going to be useful or important. And then write down one paragraph on each. This is how you can define the utility or importance of the study. Next slide, ma'am. Now here we have almost covered all the points which are important from the research point of view. Now we have to focus on, and rather we have to write the time plan of the study in our proposal. Now how it will be? Ideally, UGC has given us the guideline that we have to complete our PhD work in 3 years of time. So think that when you have to submit your thesis, suppose 3 years is time period given to me. So as a researcher, I must be ready in 2.5 years time with my thesis. So last 6 months, I can just read, I can just think, and I can just rewrite or edit my final chapterization, what I have written. So last 6 months, gaya apna. So we have only 2.5 years in our hand. So think from beginning. Now, if I want to do a study, my proposal is accepted by my guide. I have one first year which I will completely dedicate to review of literature. I will download, I will read, I will rewrite, I will write positively, I will write critically, then my entire review of literature chapter will be ready.
We are facing a certain technical problem. We will be just back. Yeah, ma'am is back here.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I
Sorry for
start?
the inconvenience. Yeah, yes, ma'am. We'll start.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we were at the time plan of the study. Time plan is you have to decide in advance 2.5 dedicated years to your PhD writing work, and accordingly, dear participants, you can frame the time as first year completely on writing the review of literatures, then other 6 months for other one or two chapters, then you can go for simultaneously preparing the questionnaire, data collection, and finally analysis, finding, and conclusion. So this is how you can go for having the chapter plan for your study. And now we are at the last part of our research proposal, that is chapter plans. You have to make a chapter scheme ready as chapter 1 introduction, chapter 2 review of literature, chapter 3 research methodology, chapter 4 analysis and interpretation of data, chapter 5 finding, conclusion, and suggestion. Next slide, ma'am. And at the last, at the end, the last part of any research proposal is references of the study. Chanchal ma'am, go to next slide. It will cover scholarly books, journals, periodicals, research reports, papers, articles, government policy notes, statutes, websites, etc. So, as a researcher, you have to keep in mind that whenever you are writing research proposal, you are supposed to write the word references. But when, as far as your PhD is concerned, your thesis is concerned, you have to use the word bibliography. Even for the research paper, you are supposed to use the word references. So, ma'am, can you go to that outline part of the slide? Yeah, to the back. Now, ideally, what all we have covered, I'll summarize. Any research proposal will begin with introduction. After that, review of literature. In any research proposal for PhD, you have to minimum write 25 review of literatures. Then objectives of the study. Since the proposal is for PhD, you have to write at least 5 to 7 objectives. And if it and suppose this proposal is for minor research projects, 3 to 5 objectives are sufficient. Depending upon number of objectives, your hypothesis will go. Say for example, you have written 4 objectives, so surely there will be 4 hypotheses in your case. Then utility of the research, to whom your research is going to be useful, that will be covered. Then limitations, then scope of your research work. Why and how your research work will be fruitful to society, to the nation at a large, you have to write. Then in detail, you have to mention about time plan, chapter scheme, and references. So that ideally, any research paper should contain 11 points overall: introduction, review of literature, objectives of study, hypothesis, research methodology, scope of research, limitations of the study, utility, time plan, chapter scheme, and references. This is all about research proposal. And I hope I have cleared even your doubts as far as objectives and hypothesis framing too. So I have ended my session over here. With this, we can open the forum for question answer session. Sheetal ma'am, I have completed my part.
Thank you, ma'am, for an insightful session today. Now, I request the participants to write down any query they would like to ask in the chat box, along with your names as well as the college name if possible. In interest of time, we will be able to take up not all questions, but few questions. I request the participants to go live and ask your questions. Okay, ma'am, here we have got one question from Dr. Jaswinder Sidhu, who writes that what is an ideal method to decide the sample size for the study?
Hello, sir. Thank you so much for patient listening, first of all, every one of you. Here, I will again give you the guideline that it depends upon many a times on universities that how much sample size the researcher should take upon. Otherwise, depends on guide, and then you can even go to Google and frame. You can put that formula, sample size formula, that will also give you the answer to have the suitable sample size. Ideally depends upon your area of research. Next questions.
Yeah, ma'am. Next question is by Rajendra Singla, who writes that what is the difference between references and bibliography?
Yes. See, references means we just go on referring the things, but we do not write exactly in detail from it. Whereas bibliography is what we refer and from which we write in our own PhD thesis work. So, this is a difference between the references and the bibliography.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Ashwini, who wants to know what is research gap?
Yes. Research gap. Basically, you do review of literature first and the foremost. I told you all one complete dedicated year you have to read, 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 and read. Then I have told you while doing the review of literature, on the left hand side, you write down the positive views, on the left and the right hand side, you write down the negative views of the research paper. And after reading various research papers on these topics, you can find out what not is covered, and that is a research gap. So you can take up that gap and frame your own statement of problem to frame the objectives.
Okay. Mr. Himanshu wants to know which style of referencing is suitable for research paper.
See, ideally, nowadays we observe that many colleges, when they organize conferences, they only say APA use karo, whatever, or Chicago. So it is available in our MS Word. You can use it. Just type it and then select that and go to references part of your MS Word. You can have APA style. But basically, we follow APA only as far as India is concerned.
Okay. Dr. S.K. Singh wants to inquire how many references minimum sufficient are there for the PhD work?
Yeah, for a PhD thesis, ideally, references can be around 80 to 100. I mean, you have to write review of literatures of about 80 to 100 things. How can you divide that? I'll just give you the brief idea about my own, thesis which I have developed. Ideally, you can have 50 to 60 research papers. Then you can have 2 to 3 reference theses for your study. Then you can take some books. Then again, that research papers which you are taking, you can divide it as national journal publications, international journal publications. Sometimes you can also, divide that depending upon the year of publication. Like that way, 80 to 100 is the ideal thing for PhD work. And if you're going for research paper, 15 to 20 are more than sufficient.
Okay. Now the next question is by Ajit Tiwari, sir. He wants to know why review literature is called as black and white method.
See, I told you, na black and white. I told you, black and white. Left hand side, positive views. Right hand side, negative views. So it is generally called as black and white method.
Okay. Uh, Ms. Neha Kothari wants to know if we are writing research paper on legal topic, What can be the research methodology?
If it is a legal topic, if it is a legal topic, it can be a case study method which you have to adopt, because generally in law profession you have many cases, case laws and case studies. So you can use this method for your research work.
Okay. There is Mr. Mithun who wants to know what is the difference between limitations that you talked about and the delimitations. He want to have a segregation between that, it seems.
There is no specific difference between There is no specific difference between the two. It is one and the same thing. Yeah.
Uh, Parth Joshi wants to know if you can throw a little bit light on self-plagiarism.
Oh, yeah. Plagiarism is what we all know. We generally see whatever good thing and we copy and paste it. So this is completely, we are copying the other's work. That's why while saying you 5 C's, I have told you that you have to cite it properly. Means from whom you are taking actually, his or her name should be written in references. That is called as citation. So once you give the citations to everything, I guess there can't be any plagiarism. Also, while doing, many of the times I have checked many theses of course my own students. It is observed that in review of literature part we can observe many plagiarism parts. So that is why, to avoid that 50% plagiarism, ha chalo दूसरे का review of literature paragraph hai, as it is उठाया and paste किया मेरे research paper में. No, you write what you feel, positive about the on the left hand side, negative on the right hand side, and then you can combine and you can write the review of literature. Anyways, there are no other chances of plagiarism in our own thesis or even in research papers, because basically a review of literature part is only of which we have to see from others work. So how can you dig out that original papers? That is also more important in avoiding the plagiarism. Suppose I have written XYZ paper in PQR journal, in one of the journal. So if you like that, you can copy my work. But whatever you are copying, you give the reference that Dr. Shraddha Bhome, so and so journal, so and so research paper, page number so and so. So if you give that citation at the end, no plagiarism will come to that. And even if it is found, then that means I have copied that part from somebody's research paper. So in that case, you have to go to my references and you have to dig out the original source from where that sentence has come up. So it won't come in plagiarism.
Someone is asking what is null and alternate hypothesis, if you can give an example for that.
Yeah, we will take the junk food wala example. Okay, suppose Chanchal ma'am wants to study the students' perception towards the junk food habits. So in this case, her objective of the study will be to analyze the teenagers' junk food pattern, eating pattern. Okay, so in that case, the hypothesis will be null hypothesis is negative. So she may say that teenagers do not love junk food. This is a null hypothesis. An alternate hypothesis can be teenagers love the junk food. Another objective she can set, senior college students love more junk food and junior college students do not love more junk food. So in this case, she can have the hypothesis that there is no association between junk food habits among the senior college and the junior college students. Alternate hypothesis can be, yes, there is an association between junk food or senior college and junior college students. So these are the some examples you can give to. See, just imagine one statement, okay, with positive and negative ways. Positive is alternate hypothesis, negative is null hypothesis. Give answer to your own mind. What can I frame? And I told you that words impact, influence, association, drag it in between. Your hypothesis will be ready. Yes?
Ma'am, and next
I
question
hope.
is by Amrita Upadhyay, ma'am. She's from our
Okay.
college. She would like to know what we must write in the synopsis.
Synopsis is same as research proposal in many universities. Or if she wants to ask about abstract writing,
I think she wanted to, maybe she meant by abstract writing itself.
yeah. Yeah, so abstract is nothing but a summary of entire your research paper. If you are writing a research paper, that synopsis or summary or abstract will be of 200 to 300 words. And ideally, when you write PhD thesis, abstract will be of 2 to 2.5 pages. It should be again the gist or a summary of your entire PhD work. It will cover the methodology which you have used. It will cover the sampling size and all that details, and what is your actual conclusion and suggestion to the society. That is important in any abstract writing part or a synopsis writing part.
Thank you so much. Thank you for guiding us. We have got ample number
Thank
of
you, ma'am.
questions, but I will not take much more of your time now. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Sheetal, ma'am.
Sorry again for a technical itch that we had. Yeah. On this ending note for such a delightful evening, I really sincerely want to thank Dr. Shraddha ma'am for all the efforts that you have taken. And I want to just wanted to say that on behalf of Tilak College of Science and Commerce, Vashi, you have, in terms of the whole session that was conducted today, it was very insightful. Each and every concept that we were eager to understand on research review of literature, hypothesis, objective of research, everything was well explained, so much that, with so much of positive comments coming from our participants, has only made us realize that this session has been so fruitful for them. I am really grateful for your time, ma'am, and your effort to share so much of thoughts and experience that you have accumulated for such number of years in teaching fraternity, ma'am. Since we are entering into this new growth phase of understanding research, so many webinars are happening, on every research methodology that we have. I think your comments, your explanations were very timely, and I am sure most of the participants today can definitely apply those methods that and suggestions that you have given to them. And I really want to thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful contribution that you have made. And I want to admit that your lecture was the most interesting that I've ever had. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for all the effort that you have taken for this session to be so successful, ma'am. Starting from all the initiation, the dry runs that we have done, your sincere effort of, lot of comments and recommendations. I really want to thank you, ma'am, so much from the bottom of our heart. Once again, thanking you on behalf of Tilak College of Science and Commerce, Vashi. For this session to be successful, I really want to thank our principal, ma'am, Dr. Anita Joshi, ma'am. Ma'am has been a wonderful support. Her her recommendations and suggestions has only made this session a very successful. And I really want to thank you, ma'am, so much. By this, we end today's session. I just want to have few instructions for the participants here. Tomorrow we'll be meeting again on the same time. But the guest speaker we'll have is Dr. Mule sir. He will be discussing on various tests that is applicable for research methodology, talking of t-test, f-test, z-test, nova test. He will talk across. He will talk about various concepts of levels of significance that is important in terms of one Taylor test, two Taylor test, all that which is initially required for your research statistical test. He will be covering, and I would expect you that please gather across to the platform to gain that knowledge. Uh, Tomorrow again we'll have a new YouTube link that will be posted tomorrow, and for the lecture. So thanking you all again for being such a wonderful audience. See you tomorrow, same time, 4 o'clock, with a new guest speaker, Dr. Mule Sir. Thanking you all. Thank you. Have a great day ahead. By this, I end the session. Thank you.